there are a few black riders around, but there's only a few that are willing to put their head above the parapet, you know, and be like, woohoo, look at me, you know, this is what I'm doing. For whatever reasons, that's up to them. But I think at the moment, with everything that's happened recently, I think it's quite important that, you know, we in the minority put a hand up and say, you know, I am an equestrian, you know, we are doing this.
I am a young
black equestrian.
I'm a young black equestrian.
I am a young black equestrian.
Jara Brown says the Young Black Equestrians podcast is so inspirational, not only for young people, but to a middle-aged woman like me. These two women are hard workers who had a dream and have made it into a reality. I'm so excited to follow their journey and those of the youngsters whose lives they will certainly impact. Dream big and reach for the stars. Thank you so much, Jara. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Young Black Equestrians with your hosts, Aubriana Johnson
and Caitlin Gooch.
We have with us today another Young Black Equestrian from across the pond, Ashleigh. Hey, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey.
All right, well, we have been starting off our episodes with sharing something that we are thankful for. So, Ashleigh, do you want to start and share something you're thankful for today?
I am thankful for this experience, getting to meet you guys, and, you know, just my health and all the rest of it. That's fun, I guess.
Very good things to be thankful for.
Oh, thank you.
I know. What about you, Caitlin?
I'm thankful for this plant. It started off as 2 leaves, and it has a root now, and it's longer, so I'm happy. My loctician, she let me cut it off of one of her plants, and I've always wanted one like this, so I'm excited.
That's cool. We're gonna have to do like a whole side thing on how you can just regrow plants from clippings of other plants, like
right,
magical. Okay. All right. Today I am thankful for I am thankful for the power of manifesting. Specific example, Caitlin and I have a running list, which Ashleigh was on, of people that we would love to talk to. And this morning I woke up to an email from someone on the list, and like it was just like, yes, like how did, you know, that person, just us putting him down on, well, in my notes section of the phone, putting it down, and it just made it a reality. And it's kind of been that has kind of been our testimony for 2020, you know, writing this stuff down makes it happen. So that was just another form of validation for that concept, like manifesting the things that you want. So let me just write down like Obama and The Rock, like Jamie Foxx. Like, let's just write some more of these people down and make it happen.
The Rock is on my vision board, so
yeah, you know, 2021, we will be there, I'm sure. But all right, let's go ahead and hop into our episode. Ashleigh, tell us about you, where you're located, what you do, all the things.
Okay, so I am from a little town called Bradford-on-Avon in England. It's near Bath, the city of Bath. Some people say Bath, some people say Bath. It's really like,
depends on where you're from.
Yeah. And it was sort of predominantly white area. And yeah, me and my sister, my parents, they're still together. So yeah, we grew up, and I still live quite close to there now.
Mm-hmm. So
How did
you even get into horses?
So my parents were working all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good excuse for them to have us go and do something at the weekends, you know, sort of while they're busy working. So we used to just go off with one of their friends and ride their horse.
Mm-hmm.
And it just all went from there. I think I was about 8 years old. And then I progressed on to games ponies, doing Prince Philip Cup Gymkhana games and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And a funny story, one of the ponies that I used to ride was half blind. So it was blind in one eye, actually. It was blind in the right eye, and it was 30 years old.
Wow.
So I had to, they used to put me as the last person, so that because I couldn't change over to anybody, because we couldn't go in a straight line back to the finish line, we would always sort of veer off to the left.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I started on quite difficult ponies, and then just progressed on to thoroughbreds. So yeah.
More difficult ponies.
yeah. That, you know, I love a challenge. I absolutely love a challenge, and I think that's why I ended up working with the racehorses and the thoroughbreds, because they are a challenge. They won't tell you what's wrong. You know, they're you have to work them out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I do a bit of work for a school, because so what happened was I was working in racing, and I had a skin condition. I had really bad eczema, and it just would not get better no matter what. And I was riding probably about 6 horses a day. And then after that, we'd have then 9 horses to groom, look after. And depending on what the weather was like, I just wasn't getting a break for my skin. And I just had to sort of knock it on the head and say, I've got to do something different. And that's then when I went working in schools. So I work with kids with autism and Asperger's. I've worked with, in an all-boys residential school, sort of behavioural issues, the naughty boys school, if you like. And then from there, I went on to working for a charity called Key for Life. And that's where I worked with the horses, music, the sport, to help get young offenders engaged and hopefully sort of into employment or sort of meaningful activity.
Yeah. Tell us more about that. Like, how did you incorporate all those things together, and what kind of transformations did you see?
So I learned a lot from the horses. You know, they won't tell you what's wrong. You like I said, you've got to work it out. But I had all the patience in the world for the horses, and I was able to see, working in the charity, how the horses, they demanded respect. Without demanding respect, they demand respect. They require respect.
Mm-hmm.
You can have all these guys coming down from London, you know, knife crime, they've done this, they've done that, you know, gang, and you put them near a horse, most of the time they were petrified, and they couldn't put the front on. They had to drop their guard and be vulnerable for a bit, you know, and in front of a group of other people. And I think when I saw the change and the kind of, okay, take a step back and let's realize that I'm not in control of this situation. When you see that, it was just like, okay, yeah, no matter how much people try to talk to people and help them, I think sometimes a horse is just the best tool, because it doesn't actually require words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're right. You have to use your body language, and you have to pay attention to the horse's body language, because something could happen and a horse react, and like you said, they're not going to tell you what they're reacting to. You just have to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's boundaries, isn't it? It's sort of like knowing where you're putting yourself, not getting too close before you're allowed into their space, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I think that is so important. Going back to what you said, you know, like horses require respect, you know. It's self-preservation for the person and the horse, you know,
Yeah.
to have those boundaries and to have that understanding, you know, like if you enter my space, like you are asking something
Mm-hmm.
of me, and if I'm not ready for that,
Yeah.
you will know.
Yeah.
And that I mean, that helps with like body autonomy and like understanding your place kind of in this world. So I love that, you know, having that vulnerability from these kids that have to put up a front, you know,
Yeah.
like a survival instinct sometimes.
I think for me as well, it was quite nice because we would meet them at the train station and then bring them to the horses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of them would have assumed that they would have been meeting white people to go and deal with the horses. So when I pull up, I'm like, hi. And then I say, yeah, I used to ride racehorses. All of a sudden they're like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yes, they're surprised because everybody seems to be surprised when a black person says, oh yeah, I ride horses, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But you almost see that kind of, oh, okay, yeah, this is, yeah, I could do this. You can see that in them, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was nice to be there and see the change, because some of them would not get anywhere near them.
Mm-hmm.
And just would not drop their guard. But by the end of the day, they were riding the horse.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You said that you would meet them at the train station. Is where the facility was, I guess it's far from where the children actually live?
These were men between the ages of 18 and 30 when I worked in the charity. And they'd come down from London, they'd come down from Bristol, all over the place. We had different programs. So the train station was probably about 20 minutes away from where we were, near Glastonbury, actually. So you've heard of Glastonbury Festival? So it's, you never heard of Glastonbury Festival?
No.
You have to Google it now.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down.
Do you know how to spell it? Because I don't.
Glastonbury.
If you get it near enough, it will take you straight there. There's only one festival like Glastonbury. Not that I've been there, though, I must say.
So you don't, I guess, work with the charity anymore?
No,
Okay.
I'm still in contact. There's one young man in particular that I worked quite closely with, and he went from a hostel in London, and he was saying, I don't want to be in the city anymore. I want to live in the countryside. And I was like, okay, well, let's do it. Oh, if that's what you want, and that I truly believe he wanted that. So we went through a couple of organisations, and he did 12 weeks at the racing college in Doncaster, which is like 4 hours away from where I live. And then he come back down, and he graduated and everything. He spent a year in a sort of well-known racing yard in Somerset.
Mm-hmm.
And he's now in another place in I've forgotten it, Lambourne. So he's, his whole life has changed.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'm still sort of in contact a little bit. And yeah, I love the guys there. They're brilliant.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you had like kept contact with anyone, or if anyone seemed to, not only have a transformation but spark an interest. Like, I would love to do this. I would love to work with horses. Did you see any of that?
100%. This lad that I'm talking about, he met the horses once, and he was the one that had this experience. Unfortunately, I didn't see it. I was down somewhere else, but I was around, but I didn't see it. But the other guys, the more sort of leader type people in the group, saw the change in the connection, and that was what kind of triggered it for the rest of them to think, oh, okay, I see it now. And then from then on, he was just like, I want to work with horses, and like I said, he's been doing it for over a year now.
Wow.
So it's, if people want it, there's no reason why they can't get it.
Right.
You know, they just need to, you know, to be shown the direction and a little bit of help on the way.
And those opportunities and possibilities, we have to make those things open for those who are looking for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because it was mentioned earlier about manifestations, and probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I was sort of sat in my house thinking, I wish there was a horse I could ride. The owner didn't want to ride it, just I could come in and I could do what I want with it and all the rest of it, and just have this horse, and I didn't have the costs involved.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I know that if I put things like this out there, they will come to me. I know it, and I have faith. And by the end of that week, I had a phone call saying, can you come and bring this horse into work? I don't want it to be a racehorse. So this 4-year-old thoroughbred has fallen in my lap, and now I can pretty much do what I like with him, as long as he's gaining the experience he needs sort of for the future.
Yeah.
So it gives me something to do as well. So
It's powerful.
definitely put it in the universe.
Yeah. That's exciting. And 4 is such a good age. Like, it hasn't been ruined very much.
Oh no, brilliant.
Young enough that you can teach him new tricks. Like, 4 is a very good age.
He is. He's so good. So I'm very lucky.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How does it feel? I'll ask the question to both of y'all. You know, being facilitators of this transformation, like being able to see kids, see, you know, older people like go through this change once they get exposed to horses. How does that make you guys feel?
That's my motivation personally. That I just love it. I can't explain it. You know, my sister asked me yesterday, she's like, well, you know, what inspires you to do it, Ashleigh? And I was just like, well, just seeing the change. You know, you take somebody from one state and you help them and you guide them and you support them, however that looks and whatever that might be, and then they end up in this state, but they're like flying, and it's just motivating to be able to show people what they are, what their potential is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I guess I'm just overwhelmed with joy, you know, because a lot of the kids I work with, some of them are just afraid of horses, you know, or they're just really intimidated. So I'm not exaggerating. A lot of times they'll come in and they don't even want to step into the barn, you know, and they're crying like, why are we here? But at the end of it, they don't want to leave. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I wish somebody was recording this. Wish we would have took a picture of you crying and then a picture of your smile and then just before and after. But it's just an overwhelming feeling. It's a really great feeling just to know that I played a part in showing somebody the horse world, and now they love it and they want to hopefully stay in it. I mean, these are little kids, you know, their parents are going to have to do that part to keep them around the horses. But I do hope that they will grow to be awesome equestrians.
Yeah. So Ashleigh, we came across your story in an article that was just published some time ago in July. You said in the article that you think that like the lack of awareness kind of contributes to why you don't see people of color in the horse industry very much. Let's just talk about that for a second, because I know, you know, us as Black Equestrians, we're trying to do our part in spreading this message, but you know, we don't know what goes on in the UK. So tell us kind of what that scene looks like.
What does it look like? Well, from the article, there was a lot of negative comments. There was a lot of arguing, and it's difficult because there are a few black riders around, but there's only a few that are willing to put their head above the parapet, you know, and be like, woohoo, look at me, you know, this is what I'm doing. For whatever reasons, that's up to them. But I think at the moment, with everything that's happened recently, I think it's quite important that, you know, we in the minority put a hand up and say, you know, I am an equestrian, you know, we are doing this. It doesn't have to be, I think a lot of people think that it's all competition as well, and it's not. It could be working in a stables, it could be working on the yard, it doesn't have to be all, you know, all about competition and what level.
Preach.
But, you know, when you're talking about the kids, I personally think with the whole coronavirus and everything that's happened, when the kids go back to school, some of them will have been in really abusive situations, and those kids might not be statemented, they might not have any diagnosis, they might be completely flying under the radar. So horses would be a really good way, I think, to bring into the schools to help the kids with their self-esteem, emotional resilience, all that kind of stuff, but also just to be in the present. With a horse, you're in the present. You're not thinking about what's going on at home, what's happening later on. You can't be. If you're around them, you have to be with them in that moment. And I think that this would really help some of the kids going back into schools.
Right.
And I think by doing that, you're creating an all-inclusive opportunity for kids to be around horses. Those that want to, great, let's take that further and see what that looks like. That might be the incentive that some of the kids with ADHD, you know, behavioural issues, that might be the incentive and the thing that they need to help them focus in, you know, and doing some of their, you know, lessons or whatever it is. But like I said, it's not for everybody, but I think definitely for some children that would really work.
Yeah,
because it's just a lot of arguments at the moment, and it's just like, let's not argue about it, let's do something for everybody, and that way it brings everybody up. There's not a lot of black people role models, so let's not just try and chuck some in, you know, and give them a free ride when no one's asking for that. Let's start from the ground up and bring everybody up together, and then everybody gets an opportunity and a choice.
My head is gonna roll off.
I know. I'm just like, yes, yes. This is the same stuff we've been saying this whole time. Oh my goodness. Yes, especially the part where it's not just people competing, you know, as far as
piece of it.
That's such a small amount. There's so many more people that have horses that ride leisurely than there are that are in the show ring of some sort. So
I'm not competitive.
Right.
I'm not competitive. I'd like to be, maybe, but I'm not now.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like everybody is like sort of putting emphasis on people that are competing, when I would just like to see more black people owning horses. Like, that's it. Caring for them, patronizing veterinarians, patronizing trainers, patronizing, you know, everybody can patronize these places and support these businesses, and they don't have to compete at all. You know, so we're missing out on that I mean, it's not small, it's quite a large group of people, you know, by just focusing on why aren't there black people showing. Like, no, that's not my question. Like, if you can get more black people into horse ownership and horse husbandry, they will feel more comfortable to show.
Yeah.
So, like you said, start from the bottom, you know, just get more representation all around, and then you'll start seeing the results of that once people become more comfortable.
Yeah.
You should make a diagram like of a cycle of how this could work.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I'm not very good at drawing.
the other
Leave
thing,
that to you.
the other thing you said, oh my gosh, I just
I want to go back to what she was saying about how this would help kids who may have been in those, I guess, negative environments. A lot of parents will reach out to me for horseback riding lessons or horsemanship because they want to build their children's confidence. And these are, you know, it's kids of color, and they're like, they're going through this phase, they're entering teenage years, and they don't want their children to fall into that dark pit of social media, and this is what you should look like when you're this age, and this is what you should be doing, or these are the things that you should care about. But it's nothing that would help them positively, you know, like it's all negative stuff, and it's not things that kids should be doing. So parents will reach out and say, hey, I just want her or his confidence to be boosted, or my child is suffering from anxiety, or they have depression and nothing else is working. And it's just amazing. Like, these parents don't have any background with horses at all. They're just like, I think horses would help.
But you get you know, there are some people that are just not good in social situations, and they just love animals. So, you know, whether it be horses or whether it be any other animal, there's plenty of jobs out there for people that aren't very social, that would, you know, quite happily fit in just doing quiet things with animals and not having to interact too much.
Yeah.
But,
I saw a post yesterday. This girl that I know works with horses in Philadelphia. She said this little girl came out to the barn, and I think she called her like Bird Girl or something like that. She had 2 parrots on her shoulders. I don't know if they were tied somehow, but they had bow ties on. And she rode on the horse with 2 parrots on her shoulders. Like, what? And she was like 8. Like, she was a little kid. And I just happened to be scrolling, and I was like, oh, it's a little girl with they were like parakeets or cockatiels, something like that. You know, with these little birds. And then I saw her on the horse, and I was like, wait, what? This little girl. And then I'm like, her parents have got to be super cool, because not only did you let your kid have birds that have bow ties, but you let her go to riding lessons. Like, the birds are out in the open, like they weren't flying away. I don't know if their wings were flipped or whatever, but then she was on a horse with the 2 birds.
Are they real?
Yeah, they were.
They were serve a purpose. Like, I don't know.
I think
that's
they
what
were,
I'm thinking in my mind.
I think they were just pets. Like, the girl who posted them, she had a picture and she was holding one of them.
Oh my God.
She was like, I got to play with them. But I'm like, are these like therapy birds? Like, do they help this girl feel, you know, calm or feel good? Like, I didn't like research a lot into it, but I was like, look at this little girl with these birds with bow ties. Like, blew my mind. So, like you said, Caitlin, I mean, you know, parents know their kids, and if nothing else is working, why not try horses?
Yeah.
You know,
You get, you know, when kids are doing things they enjoy, or people, for instance, they find it easier to talk. And quite often you find a lot of disclosures happen, you know, when a child's brushing the horse, or, you know, any kind of activity around animals and stables, whatever. Even drawing, things like that, you know, when they're just able to just be in the moment and do what they're doing, you get quite a lot. They feel a bit more relaxed and able to open up about things.
So what vision do you have for the future? What do you kind of plan on doing? I know you got your 4-year-old project, but what does the future look like for Ashleigh?
When I was at school, I always wanted to work with young offenders. my eczema sent me off into schools, and I started, I ended up working with ex-offenders. Now, what does my vision look like? This is a tough one, because I don't know, because I say yes to, within reason, I just say yes. If I don't know how to do something, I just say, yeah, go on, and then think, oh my God, how do I do this? Same. Even this Zoom stuff, I was sweating, Yeah, do a Zoom meeting. Oh my God, what we're doing. But, I don't actually know. I love to do so much. When I worked, years ago, they used to have brat camp on like our UK TV, and it was some of our kids from England would get shipped off to Arizona in the desert or on a ranch or something, and they would have to change their behavior. And I always felt like, oh, I'd love to go to somewhere like that and see how they do it. Mm-hmm. So, in the future, it'd be amazing to be able to go to America or Canada and see how other people do it. Mm-hmm. But I just enjoy helping people to change their lives using horses. I really enjoy it. They've changed my life, so. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Well, I think
whatever else happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that would be fun. Like some kind of boot camp. Get out here and muck these stalls.
Yeah. So to clarify, you mean Arizona, like over here where we are?
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, what they got going on in Arizona?
I'm almost certain it was Arizona.
Yeah, the desert.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all go out on like a dude ranch or something, have to corral the cows and all that.
Yeah, all that stuff.
That teaches character.
Yeah. All y'all have to do is threaten me. Send
right,
me across
right. You actually don't have to send me anywhere. Just tell me,
no.
Like, I won't have horses anymore, and I'll straighten up just like that. But yeah, I think that's a good vision. And I mean, we could have a TV show around it also.
Oh yeah, well, that'd be all right.
What was the show? Beyond Scared Straight?
Yeah,
that would be cool though. I'll tell you what would be cool. Just putting it out there. I was thinking the other day about, could you imagine if I'd love to be able to go to different places and do the different disciplines with horses.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
So we should just do that now. Okay.
Right.
I swear, I was in the car, I was just thinking about it the other day, and I was just like, oh, I'd love to be able to would that be hilarious if I just had to go somewhere and, I don't know anything about the Icelandic horses, for instance. Mm-hmm. I know nothing, but it'd be interesting to go and do something with them. Oh.
Mm-hmm. I wrote it down. It's going to happen.
Play polo or,
right.
Driving.
And somebody actually catch that on film and just watch us fail or succeed.
Right. There's no failure. We're learning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I am all about that, because I am in this place where like I have my horses and whatnot, but I don't know what I want to do next. What I thought I wanted to do next is kind of fell by the wayside, because it's really not that interesting. It's not that much different than what I already do. So I'm like, what next? And Caitlin's getting into mounted archery, and I'm just like, can I just do everything for 2 weeks and just see what it's like?
Yeah. That's it.
That would be an amazing TV show.
It would be.
So if you're interested in producing that for us and you are watching this video, feel free to contact us.
Yeah.
I'm Black Equestrians. Yes, but Ashleigh has to come with us, because we're gonna go to the UK. We're gonna go get her, and then we're gonna travel, and then we're gonna come back.
I mean, I'm happy to be a mascot.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a
You
lot.
are.
Yeah, I'm so excited. We'll make it happen. It's already written down. You know,
right.
we will manifest this into amazing things. I'm so excited.
Me too. It'll probably happen before this episode even airs. They're like, hey, y'all want to do a show?
Like,
Yeah, listen, my daughter's 17, and
Oh.
what?
so yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you look 17, okay?
I was
Like,
17.
Right,
I was 17 when I had her. Yeah,
Oh my
I was 17. So I sort of went from being a child to a parent. You know, I didn't really do much in between. I just went from that to that. So now
mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry about childcare. It's just like, okay, what could possibly be next? You know, what's going on? So
Yeah.
You should do another episode.
I'm not necessarily, you know, as restricted with childcare as I was.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Is she in a horse?
Not really, no. But she enjoys coming with me,
Mm-hmm.
and she enjoys brushing the horse. But she would ride, but she's just never taken it on. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't really push for it. Because I feel like if a child is interested in horses, they will have that about them and they will want to go and do it. I am not about to push it. Say, come on, you're coming to the stables, you know, if that's not for you, then that's not for you. And I get that. So
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. It's you know, because you can have good riders, don't get me wrong. But everything has been taught and it's not natural.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So you know, if she was going to be into horses, I'd want it to be like naturally, and I'd want her to naturally want to get on and naturally want to canter and gallop and jump and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, she can stay over there and I'll do it all.
I don't blame you one bit. People will ask me that about my daughters. I'm just like, I mean, they like them sometimes, but I'm not pressed for it, you know?
No.
Everybody has to have their own thing.
That's it.
You
Yeah.
know?
Right.
And how do you get away from them if they always like to be around you?
Exactly. Like,
I don't even have kids, but I'm like, I mean, we're going to have some mommy time and I'm going to go over here and you do what you like and I'll do what I like. Everybody does what they like. That is too funny to me. So, Ashleigh, what advice would you give aspiring equestrians today?
I would say don't worry about what anybody else has to say. Focus on yourself, and other people's opinions are based on their experiences. So therefore, it's not relevant to anybody else, you know? I think especially learning from all the whole Black Lives Matter things, I have a lot of white friends, and some of the things they say, some people might say, oh, it's racist, but I say, oh, hang on, because we were all raised similarly, you know, in a predominantly white area. So some of the things that I grew up with, I might not have realized actually why these things happen. Does that make sense? Like, you know, being the only Black person on the racing yard or in school, you know, there was very few Black people. So that was normal. So based on other people's experience, everybody's got their own experiences basically, and you can't go off of other people's opinions. You have to just work it out for yourself.
Yeah, that's good advice. That is good advice. I grew up similarly, and it's kind of like some situations that you're put in, whereas one person would be uncomfortable. You know, it's like I grew up around all these white people. Like, what's up? Like, you know, there's a sense of like familiarity with this space. And so I felt like the horse industry was not much different, you know, from just my normal upbringing. So, you know, there's some people out there like, rah, rah, oh my God, do that. And it's like, you know, yeah, this is what it's like. You know, it's always been like this. And, you know, what do you do? But I think that, like you said, with, you know, the Black Lives Matter space and just dealing with the last few months, a lot of conversations have started that were not happening previously. So I think I was just talking to a lady, and we were just talking about how coronavirus, like, it sucks, like, it, you know, it's a horrible thing, but some of the good that has come out of just us having to stop and shut down and sit in our house, and the only thing we have are these typey fingers, you know, looking at the internet, and how this has allowed us to connect with people, because we're humans. We crave that connection, and we can't have it physically. So we've doing it virtually, and how we probably wouldn't have even known of all these Black horse people if this had not happened.
It's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah,
it really is. Like, and I'm part of the rural, the BAME and rural activities focus group on Facebook, and one of the committee meetings, it was a comment was made, nothing negative, but it was just like, but how lucky are we to now be in a position to say, right, let's do something about it. Like, what an opportunity.
Yeah.
So, you know, it feel sorry for you guys from before, sort of thing, but you know, gotta make the most of these situations, definitely. I mean, I used to go racing. I was always the only Black person in the paddock, right? So we went to Aintree for the Grand National. I had sunglasses on, I had a fascinator on, I had like red hair. I thought, I'm standing out. If I don't stand out already, I'm standing out. I loved it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, actually. I embraced being in the minority when I was in racing. Didn't bother me at all. But I'd definitely like to see more people in the sport included, and making sure they know that actually it is a sport for them. If they can get involved, you know, it's not all about money.
I didn't really realize, I guess, that I was a minority until I guess my college adult life, sort of, as far as the horse industry, because I grew up around Black cowboys and cowgirls, Black equestrians. And my family is extremely huge. Like, my family is large. And I've just only been around that. And I only noticed it when people pointed it out, you know, like, that's a white people thing. Okay, well, I don't see a bunch of white people doing it. I see my people doing it. So my experience is totally different. But now I'm like, well, dang, when I was younger, I wish I did have a book, you know, the books that I have now that have Black equestrians in them. I wish I did see, I guess, more. Tractor Supply was like the only store I ever went to that had horse stuff. But we just went in there to get horse feed and we left. I didn't look through the magazines and stuff like that because I already lived in it. But I'm happy to play a role in that representation now.
Yeah. But even then, like, we're a minority within a minority. We are in the horse community, but we are Black people that grew up around other Black people riding horses.
Yeah.
So I was just talking about this with a lady earlier. Like, we have something that other Black equestrians have not experienced yet. You know, so they feel like a minority in their space, but we're like, hey, here's like hundreds of other Black horse people out here. Like, you want to come? And they're like, mind blown.
Yeah.
You know? So we have a lady that's apparently she's going to come from Colorado and come stay with us to go to a trail ride.
No way.
Yeah, she was like, we are coming. Like, if I could hop on a plane tomorrow, I would be there.
Oh.
So we have that to look forward to. But yeah, you know, that's like with this OG Fest that we're hosting virtually, like, we're going to have Black faces talking about the things that they are experts in. And, you know, we're not going to be, it's going to be home. We're not going to be like that minority within a minority anymore. We're going to share like all of our experiences and just like, hey, like, come on, like, these are your people. These are our people. So let's fellowship together. And I'm super, 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 super excited about that. So
I love the fact that everybody's connecting and you know, I went to Leicester last Thursday and met with Freedom from the Urban Equestrian Academy. Oh, it was so nice to meet. It's so nice to meet him in person. It's like I've known him forever for a start, and it was nice to meet some of his girls there, their setup and everything, and it was I really enjoy getting out there and meeting people. And you know, you can do so much online, don't get me wrong, but you know, if you really want to go and meet people, you do it.
Yes.
And you know, I've got the time at the moment, so I want to do it. So,
that's what we say. If you really want to go get a truck, go
you'll go get a truck.
If you really want to go get a trailer, drive 8 hours to get that trailer. Like, we have been. But yeah, Freedom, oh my gosh, we cannot wait. Like, we have to coordinate getting him on this doggone show.
We just gonna have to pop up on him.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to be like, hey, pick up the phone real quick. We need it.
You're doing an interview.
Yeah. But I remember.
Well, I can vouch for you. I'll say to him, oh yeah, they're really great. You should go on there.
Yeah. Well, I remember. I will never forget the day that he brought the horses to the yard there that they have. He, you know, I remember going through his Instagram stories, and I'm pretty sure he spent the night. He spent the night there the first night. And so maybe a week or two prior to that or something, he got this horse, and he's like posting pictures of her. Oh, you know, this donation. And I was like, oh my gosh, Freedom, that horse looks pregnant. And he was like, no, the lady just said she fat. And the first night they moved those horses to the yard, he was posting in his story, and then he was like,
he was a midwife.
Yeah, he was like, oh shit, there's a baby. And I was like, I told you that horse looked pregnant. He was like, what the heck? Like, I heard some noises and I got up and there's a whole baby on the ground.
He wouldn't have even had any of them gloves, would he? He wouldn't have even had one of those gloves.
No. It was so funny because it was just randomly in the day. I was just scrolling through and I was like, he's having a baby. So I cannot wait to get him on an episode and just relive that moment over again, because I was like, Freedom, that horse looks pregnant. No, she lives on air.
Just
like,
wow.
She just I'm like, okay.
If you say so.
Right. But I can't wait. But anyway, thank you so much for your time today. This was
thank you for having me.
Yes, and we are going to have to chop it up with you more often because we got to get our show like going and stuff. So
right.
And we've got a program to promote as well, haven't we?
Yes, we do. So, all right, let our people know where they can find you if they want to get in touch with you.
So Instagram is Miss Black Equestrian.
Ooh, do I follow you?
Oh, fancy.
And I'm just on Facebook as Ashleigh Wicheard. So just plain and simple. Keep it simple.
Don't worry, y'all.
Yes,
I had to
go follow her. Go follow her. So thank you again. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and
thank you.
we'll let you know when this episode's going live.
Cool.
All right. Y'all have
Thanks very much.
Bye.
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 Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Young Black Equestrians. Head over to our Facebook or Instagram pages and let us know what you thought about that episode. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and have the opportunity to be featured in our next episode. See you next week.